thanking Dan for being here. Dan is, I consider Dan to be a survivor. He's been around state government and politics for 35 years, and anyone that can come out of a 35-year career, sustain a 35-year career in state government and politics in Springfield with the distinguished record he has and be as well respected as he is in Springfield speaks to the type of work he does. But he's also a survivor, as you all know, because yesterday he sat through his commission, was charged with hearings yesterday in Murphysboro and Chester, and while those were eventful yesterday, Dan is here this morning, and he spoke to a class just a little bit ago, a policy analysis class, worked with some students on research they're doing on gambling and education. And we have a luncheon this afternoon here shortly. But I appreciate Dan being here. He's one of the state's foremost experts on financial matters and operational matters and legislation that gets, major legislation that gets proposed. His commission will take time to review that and maybe even know it a little bit better than the sponsors of the legislation, quite frankly. And so we're glad to have him here. And I'll just toss it over to Dan for any comments he has to make and any questions.
Thank you, man. Everybody live up to all that.
Well, I would like to ask your opinion on how the hearings went yesterday and your impressions of what the public had to say.
The hearings went very well, and they went as we expected. I thought there was a lot of facts that came out. I thought everyone was very cordial, and the hearings went well. In Murphysboro, I think it was good that the members had a chance to tour the facility, to learn about. It's one of the more modern facilities. It's built in 1995 specifically to deal with youth, and the fact that the state, even if they decide it's not going to be used for youth anymore, there's clearly a need and demand in the Department of Corrections for beds, so it could possibly be used for a minimum security facility, and that came out yesterday. So personally, I'd be surprised if that type of facility and that kind of condition would close. Chester is even more so. We had a large crowd in Chester, and there was a lot of good statistical information that came out. One, they want to close it by, I think, the end of March. But it was brought out the fact that there has to be a change in state law because those types of individuals difficult to deal with their psychiatric problems can only be housed. Chester's the only maximum security facility in the state for this purpose. It takes a change in state law. I think the Secretary was asked if they've got a sponsor for legislation or drafted legislation yet. The answer was no. And it takes a while. Things just don't happen overnight in Springfield. That legislation has to be drafted. You have to find a sponsor. You have to get it passed with the House and Senate. And that can be a difficult task. The other issue is that the other facilities that they want to transfer some of these individuals to are not even equipped to take care of them at this point. It's going to take at least $4 million in structural improvement, which comes out of the capital funds. First, those have to be released. Then the Capital Development Board would have to take bids, and then you'd have to actually have this work completed. Highly unlikely that would be done by March. And then the facility itself, it's just a terrific facility. It's gotten awards for its design. There's been over $3 million put in the facility to keep it upgraded, so that it appears that it would be difficult to close the Chester Mental Health Center. And certainly, all the members of the commission and even the departments that acknowledged it was very doubtful that this could possibly be done by the end of March.
So do you think the governor's proposal may have not been as well thought out?
You know, I'm not sure. You know, there was a lot of questions about why they recommended Chester, and you were there, I believe. But unfortunately, the only answer that came out was the size of the budget, which didn't make a lot of sense to a lot of the numbers. I mean, you can close the facility simply because it has a large budget, but they might have to close some other facilities. So I don't know if it wasn't well thought out, but it certainly didn't seem like that was the right choice, perhaps. And at the end of the meeting yesterday, I think all the members acknowledged that they were going to be able to get it done this time frame, and a couple even expressed the fact that they have no intention of voting to close this facility.
The underlying suspicion, though, that when people were asking why these two facilities were chosen was political gamesmanship. I'm curious, how do you respond when someone brings that up to you?
Well, there's politics involved in everything in Illinois government, so was there politics involved in these closures? Possibly, probably. That's just part of the process.
Where do you see your commission when you're talking about politics, so to speak? I mean, I assume you have a lot of credit towards a bipartisan commission. You're looking at facts and research, but the governor can do with your recommendation, or he could do, just toss it aside.
It's true. It's a recommendation, and the statute is written in that way because of infringement on the executive branch. We've had a number of these facility closure hearings. The administration's gone along with every one of our recommendations. Either keep them open or close them. Howe Development Center was recommended to be closed. It's been closed. Pontiac Prison recommended to keep it open. A number of other facilities were recommended to keep open. They're still open. So the fact that it is a bipartisan committee, the fact that a lot of the members not only serve on this commission but are also very involved in the appropriation process in state government certainly carries a lot of weight. So certainly the governor doesn't have to follow the recommendation, but I think it makes that choice a lot more difficult for the commission votes to keep the facility open and then they attempt to close it. Also, the governor himself has already asked for $75 million in supplemental appropriation during the fall veto session to keep both these facilities open and the correctional facilities that have been recommended, like the youth center and the Logan Correctional Center. So even the administration simply seems to be moving in the direction of keeping these facilities open.
And